Good evening, I'm Zoey Tur, live from San Francisco, and this is Midnight Radio. We have a really interesting story this evening. It's been going on actually for several days, but it gets weirder by the hour. The United States government and the Canadian government, working together, have brought down two more UFOs. Tonight, we understand there might be a third that's somehow hovering or drifting over Montana, over Havre, Montana. The Federal Aviation Administration closed some airspace in that vicinity earlier this evening. We understand that it was from the surface all the way up to 35,000 feet, and it was declared an international defense area. So they had the airspace completely restricted, and that's very difficult to get that type of restriction without the involvement of major military command. In this case, it was NORAD. So my understanding is just a matter of minutes ago, around 7:15, that temporary flight restriction was taken down. The notice to airmen was removed. Now, let's go back to yesterday. The United States military, NORAD again, was tracking something up at 40,000 feet. They sent an F-35 accompanied by an F-22 to investigate. And what they found at 40,000 feet was described, according to sources, ABC News sources, as being cylindrical and gray in shape. According to Pentagon spokespeople, publicly, they announced that it was the size of a car. So it was up at 40,000 feet. We do have aircraft that fly at 40,000 feet, and the order was given to take it down. And the military fired a Sidewinder missile from an F-22. They brought the unidentified flying object or drifting object down. It evidently, the wreckage crashed on a frozen piece of sea ice, and the United States military sent out a couple of aircraft, some Black Hawks, Pavehawks, out there to take a look of whatever wreckage they can find. It's also important to note that there's heavy snowfall in the area, so they're going to have some difficult times looking through that area for any remnants of it. But, they did watch it, and they have a good idea where it fell, and the military can be very thorough when they want to be. And this sounds like one of those cases. We don't know if it was, we don't know where it came from, where it was launched, where it was heading, if it had a propulsion system. The military says that it was unmanned, again, gray, cylindrical. Now, here's some new information. Another drone, if you call it a drone, another UFO was spotted in northern Canada, in the Yukon country. And the United States government, working with Canada, went up to investigate. The United States military sent an F-35, which has just the latest in military sensors. So they sent the F-35 accompanied by an F-22. Also, the Canadians sent along a CF-18, that's an F-18 from Canada, and I think an F-140. And they joined the American aircraft. And we're hearing that in at least two instances, the unidentified flying object did some sort of active or passive jamming on the sensors of either Canada or the United States. We just don't have enough information. That aircraft was brought down by an F-22, the American F-22, with a Sidewinder missile, and it was successfully splashed, as they say. Then tonight, NORAD said that they were monitoring something, and again, this was in the Montana area, around 40,000 feet, I think. We don't know, but they spotted something, and evidently that's why they put up that restricted airspace, that international defense airspace, and ordered all pilots to stay out of that area. That's evidently why. I can't tell you, but this is just remarkable. So the question is, are these man-made? Are they industrial? Are they, who knows what they are? The military, if they do know, they're not saying, but it's bewildering to them from what we can tell. We're waiting to get some information, from people, from, military folks on the ground that can maybe fill in some of the gaps. It's kind of remarkable that we're getting this much information. Another point to make is, now that we're aware of what's going on with China invading our airspace with surveillance craft, we might be very proactive, and the Canadians might be very proactive now about spotting these UAPs and taking them down when they can. Commercial aircraft fly all the way up to 40,000 feet. The F-35 can fly higher. It's made for that. The SR-72, that flies way high as well. That's about what we know. Oh, there is another point. One military source said it was just floating along, at the mercy of the wind. And that sounds like a balloon. And there are balloons that can be cylindrical in shape. So we don't know if it was cylindrical in a vertical way or horizontal way. The military just isn't saying. It's interesting, and I think it's interesting for everyone to know that we are capable of seeing on radar something as small as, and maybe as thin as a balloon at 40,000 feet that may be no larger than a car. So that's the latest. We'll get back to you with any more information, but it's very exciting if you're into this. And I've seen two objects I can't identify. I'm a pilot. I've got 10,000 plus hours, commercial pilot, and I've seen some strange things, but really only two things I can't identify. One was in 1983. I was with air traffic control flying out of San Francisco. I was being vectored down to Los Angeles when I encountered a very bright light coming at me in the area of Hunter Liggett, a military area, down along the coast, as you head south toward Los Angeles. And I don't know what it is, or what it was, but it was an intense light. I asked ATC if they had any idea what it was, if they were reporting any aircraft in my vicinity, and they said no, which, I just wrote it off, as one of those things. And then recently, a few months ago, I even reported this, I saw a white, like Tic Tac kind of thing, shooting over through Silicon Valley from the southeast to the northwest at a super high rate of speed. There was no rooster tail, there was no multicolors like you'd see with friction or a satellite re-entering or a space rock, anything like that. It just was this white thing, and it went shooting by, and it was so fast. I've seen military aircraft, going pretty quickly, and this, maybe it was 17,000, 18,000 miles per hour, but it was silent, fast, and it wasn't that high. It was maybe 5,000 feet, and it was fast. So that's my experience. I don't know what it was. And that's the thing, you could see these things, but without additional information, high-res imagery, it's just another light in the sky. It's not acting like the lights I'm used to seeing, but that's the way it is. So that's our report this evening. I'm Zoey Tur, live from San Francisco. This has been Midnight Radio.